Red Bull raised eyebrows during the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix as the RB19 breezed past the Mercedes and almost all of the midfield cars without a single issue. But what made the RB19 so fast? Let's find out. After the victorious race in Bahrain, it was thought that Red Bull might have to take a blow after Max Verstappen's P15 qualification due to an issue. However, things turned out to be quite different, as the Dutchman overtook every single car in front of him and finished P2. It is known that the RB19 is one of the most aerodynamically efficient cars, owing to the brilliance of Adrian Newey. However, unlike most teams on the grid, Red Bull looked quite fast, even under the influence of the drag reduction system or the DRS. While many have pointed to the car's aerodynamic efficiency as the key, there's another factor at play, the innovative use of DRS. For those not in the know, DRS or drag reduction system is a device that allows drivers to reduce the drag on their car by opening a gap in the rear wing. Although the FIA mandates a maximum gap of 85mm that can be opened between the main plane and upper flap, the effectiveness of the DRS can be finely tuned by each team based on their unique wing design. To understand how this works, imagine a violin and a cello playing the same note. Although they are playing at the same frequency, the sound they produce is different because of their unique shape and materials. Similarly, each team's wing design will produce a different effect when the DRS is activated. Red Bull Racing has been able to optimize their DRS by creating a wing design that maximizes the speed boost that can be gained when the DRS is opened. This has given them a significant advantage over their competitors, as their car is able to achieve higher top speeds than any other car on the grid. It's not just about the DRS being open that gives Red Bull a big advantage. The complete package of their car's aerodynamics has been meticulously crafted, right down to the details of the flap ends and slot gap generator. Red Bull's design features a smooth curve where the flap ends meet the end plates, which is notably different from Mercedes. By avoiding any sharp corners that could generate vortices on the trailing edge of the end plates, Red Bull has reduced drag and increased the efficiency of the entire car. The small outer section of the flap that doesn't open also has a carefully designed slot gap detail that complements the flow of air around the rear wing corner. This, along with the optimal chord length of the actual flap in that area, helps to further improve the car's aerodynamics. In contrast, Mercedes and Ferrari have a slot gap separator that closes the end of the short section of the slot gap when the DRS is open. This causes a small section of the wing to produce more downforce and drag precisely when you want to eliminate as much drag as possible. In wet conditions, large vortices can be seen coming off that outer corner. Red Bull's design addresses these issues by reducing the vortices and improving the efficiency of the entire car, whether DRS is open or not. Formula One's technical regulations allow the slot gap between the upper flap and the main plane of the rear wing to be opened up to 85mm. This can translate to a drag reduction of 15 to 18 km per hour or even up to 20 km per hour in extreme cases. So the Red Bull advantage is massive. The drag reduction system has been a part of Formula One since 2011, and teams have had to design their cars with it in mind. Red Bull Racing in particular has adopted an aggressive secondary flap on its beam wing, which relies on the airflow generated by the upper wing when the DRS is closed to keep the flow attached on the beam wing. This design feature has been a trend in Red Bull cars since the introduction of ground effect rules. The airflow coming from the rear of the car needs to be considered as a whole, and the different aerodynamic components of the car must work in harmony to produce the best flow away from the track, to produce the best results. When it's wet, you can see how the spray is turned upwards, effectively pulling the flow away from the track surface. If the diffuser, beam wing, and upper wing work together, they are much more powerful than if they work individually. However, when the DRS is open, the turning moment on the airflow from this component is reduced, and the beam wing stalls as a result. This, in turn, can stall the rear of the underfloor. While the term stall may sound severe, it simply means that the beam wing's potential to produce downforce is reduced. And if managed correctly, this can also reduce drag. Red Bull's design philosophy, therefore, is to create a car where all the different aerodynamic components work together to maximize performance, whether the DRS is open or closed. By adopting an aggressive secondary flap on its beam wing, Red Bull is able to maintain airflow when the DRS is closed, which improves the efficiency of the entire car. And when the DRS is open, they manage the stall to reduce drag and maintain as much downforce as possible. Meanwhile, other teams, such as Ferrari and Mercedes, have taken a different approach, with smaller beam wings that focus on reducing drag of the wing itself However, this can lead to a disconnect between the various components at the rear of the car, making it harder to get the complete rear end of the car working together as one cohesive unit. Red Bull's approach, on the other hand, seems to be working very effectively. By creating a drag reduction effect for the whole back end of the car, they have effectively created a triple DRS that maximizes the potential of the DRS system. This requires a deep understanding of the technical regulations and how to make them work to their advantage. The result is a car that seems to be performing very well, with a massive advantage in terms of speed when the DRS is open. Other teams may want to take a closer look at Red Bull's approach and see if they can incorporate some of these ideas into their own designs. After all, in Formula One, every little bit counts when it comes to gaining advantage on the track. On the other hand, Mercedes seems to be struggling to keep up with Red Bull's innovations and may not have a good handle on what they are missing. They may need to focus on the finer details and work to optimize the performance of the underfloor and diffuser if they want to close the gap with Red Bull. Perhaps when the new concept that is supposedly producing big gains appears, it will exploit more of these finer details. It's very easy to focus on individual parts of an F1 car and think of them as modular, but it's all about how it all works together. When it comes to trying to optimize the DRS, you have to start with the underfloor. The principle of making ground effect Venturi tunnels work is simple enough, but in F1, it's all about maximizing this. And that's when it comes to all the details, the vanes, the winglets on the brake ducts, the floor edges, the underfloor configuration. This is what gives you fine control. Effectively, all of this is what makes up the performance of the underfloor and the diffuser at the back of the car. With the RB19, Red Bull Racing seems to have reached a level of dominance that is almost unrivaled. As the team continues to top every session, their superiority on the track is undeniable. But behind the scenes, it's the work of one man that deserves the lion's share of credit. That man is Adrian Newey, a designer whose genius has created some of the greatest machines in Formula One history. The RB19's aerodynamic prowess is simply remarkable, as evidenced by its lightning-fast speed down the straights with DRS, and its ability to carve through corners with ease. Red Bull's dominance was undeniable at the recent Saudi Arabian Grand Prix as they topped all 5 sessions, including practice. On race day, generally, Red Bull are a second a lap quicker than every other team. The edge in performance is profound. We should not be surprised. Newey first made his name during McLaren's years of victories in the late 1990s, but has been part of the Red Bull family since 2006. He wrote a thesis during his degree in aeronautics and astronautics at Southampton University on ground effect aerodynamics. This new set of regulations played right into his hands, so much so that you can imagine the 64-year-old cackling to himself somewhere in a quiet corner. While others have no answers, he has them all. Lewis Hamilton, in his 17th season in Formula One, admitted post-Jeddah to experiencing a feeling so rare in his career. With Verstappen reeling him in, the 7-time world champion was powerless, completely powerless. Hamilton said about the Red Bull 2023 car, "I have definitely never seen a car so fast. When we, Mercedes, were fast, we were not that fast. It is the fastest car I've seen, especially compared to the rest. I don't know how, but he, Verstappen, came past me with some serious speed and I didn't even bother to block him because there was a massive speed difference. The dominance at this stage is overwhelming. The horizon looks bleak for the 9 other teams heading to Australia. Yet delve deeper and there are reasons, albeit faint, to maintain hope. Do you see Red Bull winning all 23 races this year? Let us know in the comments section below. That will be all for today's video. Thanks for staying tuned. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell so that you can always get to watch more amazing videos like this. See you in the next video.